Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I found an absolute doozy. This is how they will force the church to their knees and force the government to their knees. Now, here we are, a child, okay? And he's convinced he's trans, instead of it just dressing up as being a child, dressing and whatever, it's now regarded as he's now a female, is now wanting to be a man. And this is a 7-year-old child, ladies and gentlemen, 7 years old child. Today is, it's about 9:30 at night. It is something no mother wants to go through, to be told by her church that, listen to all this, right? And this is how they will get everybody to comply. Sarah McFadden was forced to make a choice when a Catholic church in Melbourne kicked her and her family out when she revealed her child was trans, a 7-year-old child. She simply asked for her son, Jack, who was born Lila and assigned female at birth, assigned. I love that word, assigned. You're assigned your thing, are you? You're assigned it, are you? To be baptised, but when she explained the circumstances around his recent social transition, she's calling it, a social transition, assigned female at birth, and then social transition. You see these words, ladies and gentlemen, they're using, you see these words? For 8 months, Mrs. McFadden desperately tried to find another place of worship, but door after door was slammed in her face. Of course, love, they have to accept you, right? They have to agree with you. They have to promote this, right? I said I want my child baptised as a male. Are you kidding me? And was told absolutely no way. The Melbourne mother of one told 9MS, here we go, it's on for young and old now. They said if you're going to support him, you're not welcome in our church. It was love the sinner, hate the sin. It was stuck between my beliefs and supporting my child. I thought, what do I do? Well, simply, love, you just don't go to church, do you? And make other people comply. Meanwhile, her son Jack, who was just 7 years old at the time, began questioning his God, following the rejection from the church. This is a 7-year-old child, mind you, ladies and gentlemen. Why did God do this to me? Why doesn't God love me? Am I going to hell? What did I do wrong? This is Jack, right? I don't think this child said these words at all. I don't think that's real at all. I think that's absolute bullshit. Mrs. McFadden started blaming herself and was shocked. Her safe place was not there when she and her family needed it most. So you're expecting this church to be a safe place, and I don't understand. I never knew a church was that. You just go to church and you go home. I don't understand that term. She was about to throw in the towel when she reached out to Melbourne Inclusive Church. Church is where you go with everything and you're loved no matter what. They see a church accepting this is not a church. Okay, that's a church of Satan. Okay, a church that says that, comes out and says that, Melbourne Inclusive Church, is a satanic church. That's a satanic church. Some churches are putting an asterisk on it with an exemption. I say to them, show me the Bible verse that explicitly says you can't be transgender. So you need a Bible verse explicitly saying that you can't be transgender in order for her to comply that you can't be transgender. Cop that, ladies and gentlemen. I do not for 1 second believe Jack is going to hell and that I'm going to hell. God made him this way and that's all there is to it. No, love, he did not make him that way. You are actually, you're helping him. Look at this smile, right? She's helping him the whole way. She's encouraging all this, right? Early signs of gender dysphoria. So now they've come out with what it actually is, ladies and gentlemen, which is called gender dysphoria. That is the actual term for it. And now they are passing that off in the same term as they are trying to pass it off as the other one, the other term we read before. He refused to wear girls' clothing and difficulty with toilet training as he wanted to stand up rather than sit. But his parents were none the wiser as Jack is their first and only child. My husband Sean and I thought Jack was a tomboy or perhaps gay. So you already thought he was gay at 5 years old or 6 years old or, what, are you kidding me? Anyway, how do you know he's not a tomboy? I had plenty of girls when I was growing up. They were dressed as guys and they hung around with all the guys and did all the same things we did. And they were called tomboys. That's not a big deal. We didn't know any different, but when Jack was 2, he took some scissors to his private area. Well, that's a great idea. What encouraged him to do that? You know, what made him think of doing that, right? Children don't have that comprehension, so if you don't like something, you get rid of it. Children don't have that comprehension, so if you don't, no. They don't go and do that. They don't just cut their things off, okay? That was our first sign, but it was still running, wasn't the turning point for us. Well, it could have been, it should have been. I don't understand why it wasn't. It became even worse. Just keep scissors around. Don't have any sharp pair of scissors around him. It became even worse in kindergarten. He was having accidents in class, but as soon as we put him in boys' underwear, the accidents stopped. We just figured he'd like Toy Story. So he was watching Toy Story a lot, okay? So the characters in Toy Story, okay? Who knows? Mrs. McFadden said Jack loved to role play the male gender. He would get quite distressed at my body out of fear that's what he was going to do, going to get. He would say, "Mummy, please make sure when I grow up I don't get boobies like you." Every year Santa gets a request for a penis. Jack has always wanted to wear a 3-piece suit to every event. He used to prove to everyone and probably himself that he was a boy. Trapped in a body he can't stand. Despite Jack calling out for help through his masculine mannerisms, dress code choice and attempted self-harm, his parents were still in denial. The excuses and the justifications I come up with were pretty extraordinary. We couldn't get him into a dress on our wedding day when he was 2. We're going to have to renew our vows because Jack doesn't let us put up photos that as they're all of him in a dress. A friend reached out to me and said, "I think this is what's going on." I did some research and found information on trans children and said, "This is my son." Yeah. When Jack did his social transition halfway through grade 1, it was smooth sailing, really. And then the then 7-year-old finished school at Lila on the Friday and started as Jack on the Monday. Oh, that's just wonderful. The staff said Jack is a boy now. There was nothing more to it. Right, okay. Apparently all the kids went home and said, we told you he was a boy. It surprises me that a bunch of grade 1 children can get it, but the adults can't. We lost some family because of the religious beliefs. We always pray that they'll come back friend-wise. We lost one. We lost no one. Thought God didn't love me. Wait a minute. I'm reading this, right? Where's all this bullshit going? How did we go from... Wait a minute. What's going on here? Jack was born, and more about him, but Mrs. Faddings copped so much hatred from the Australian lobby and fundamental Christians. He condemned what is going on? Because all they've done is just talk about him and the mother. I know there are a lot of churches that they're completely inclusive and supportive, but we don't hear from them because the other side is just drowning them all out with the hate. Really? All hate do they love? She searched in Google and miraculously found Melbourne Inclusive, a Christian body dedicated to sharing Christ's equal love for all people regardless of their ability, social, economic status, sexual orientation, age, gender or culture. Wow. Pastor Becky Barona, she was stunned when she heard a church excluded a child of God, leaving Jack feeling separated from faith. This could have gone really badly. At first, he said, "God hates me." It was quite confusing for him. There's nothing in the Bible that says transgender people are broken or damaged or need to be fixed. God wouldn't create a person and then reject a person. It just doesn't make sense. In 2017, Jack and his mother were baptised in the church. Pastor Becky said the majority of the church, 20 plus members, were from the LBGT. So, okay, then majority of them were all right? We're a very small church. I'll bet you are, love. A very small minority, and you want complete control over the majority, okay? We're a very small church. As church isn't popular in our community because of the way mainstream churches have treated us. No, your church isn't popular. You know, there's other churches out there. I'm pretty sure they're pretty popular on Sunday. People take the Bible very literally, and it says God is against LBG. It says, right, well, it is. One in particular that sticks out to me in regards is trans people, Genesis 1:27. It talks about how God created man and female, so that must be all there is. But when you think about the scripture itself, it says God created humans in God's image. There's a real sense of inclusion in that statement. Does the Bible come right out and say transgender? No, we see there's some various characters in the Bible. Jesus says, love God, love others in Scripture. They ask Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? He says, love your God with all your heart and soul. And second is love your neighbour as thyself. These are the 2 greatest commandments. Pastor Becky said it took time, but the church worked closely with Jack to ensure he didn't compromise who he was. We validated him. We validated. Very important, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad I read that. We validated it. Okay? And that's what's been going on with this young boy's his whole thing here. The mother's validated it, the father's validated it. It's all been validated, right? Love that. We loved him. Once we have an experience with Christ, no one can take that from us. We helped him build his relationship with God to show him that he could pray and receive help from God. Now he's been able to realise that I'm a child of God and God absolutely loves me and my family. Even on a bad day, he comes to church and gets encouraged by... I'm glad he goes to church. Can't say anything bad about that. A person's identity is largely irrelevant. How's that, ladies and gentlemen? How's that for a statement? He could pray and receive help from God to live a happy and blessed life as he truly is. I hope he does find God. I hope he does enjoy the church. He, she, whatever. A person's identity is largely irrelevant. I don't like that statement, ladies and gentlemen. That's a bit scary, isn't it? A person's identity is largely irrelevant. Fuck, so your identity is irrelevant, right? A person's identity to whether they are welcomed by religious communities. In order to become a formal member of the church, a person would have to demonstrate willingness to adhere to the church teachings, as with all organisations built around a political, religious or other ethical cause. When asked if trans children should be discouraged from transitioning, Mr. Earl said those with gender dysphoria, not trans children, gender dysphoria, should be given the help and support they need. Did you notice that, ladies and gentlemen? They passed that in there as when asked if trans children, should be discouraged. He has put it straight back on the legal term for it because there are no trans children, It's a gender dysphoria, It's a condition, right? Gender dysphoria. And they've tried to pass it straight off as trans children right there. You can see it in the same sentence how they've tried to just turn the words around, and that's what they try and do here, right? But the legal person you go and talk to, a legal doctor, when he talks to you, it is a gender dysphoria. But you talk to any of these people and they've got trans children. You understand? So they do not understand this. They're on two different planes here, two different sides of the coin. This little cutie, isn't she, eh? Jack at age 4. This is a little girl. Sorry, I mean picture. And this is her, right, before she's transitioned, little girl, We are concerned that children are receiving treatment not because their gendered identity would previously have been undiscovered, but undiscovered. How can it be undiscovered, ladies and gentlemen? It's a little boy dressing as girl dressing as a boy. That doesn't automatically mean that they're transgender. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they're a child. You're talking a 3 or 5 year old child here, give me a break. It's a child. But because of exposure to messages encourage them to explore their gender, see, there we go, to messages encouraging them to explore their gender, an overly hasty medical intervention which can be irreversible. Earlier this month, a Pride March was held in Melbourne to ban gay conversion therapy, a practice trying to change an individual's sexual orientation. Because over here, they can give you the operation, mate. They don't have to tell your parents. The child can just say it at school, and they'll automatically put them on the hormone treatment, and they can get the operation going. If conversion therapy is so loosely defined as to prevent core Christian beliefs like sin, salvation, change, and renewal from being taught and practiced by churches, then such policies would be an attack on religious freedom which threatens the integrity of most Australian churches. Damage is being done by non-affirming churches. So everybody has to agree. Everybody. They want all the churches, right? And I'm really sorry about that. If it's a real church, then it won't do it. It just won't. Because they follow the proper teachings of the Bible. And if it's a real church, they just won't. They're not going to agree to it. They just won't. It's against their religious belief. But see, their religious belief means nothing compared to what theirs does. You must accept this. You must let it in. You must, promote it and you know what I mean? The Australian Christian lobby is a complete bane of my existence. They had so much hate, it has to end. Wow. So there you go. We had so much hate, right? The Australian Christian lobby is a complete bane of existence. Our family would be lost without Pastor Becky and Jack's Sunday school teachers. I now have a child who doesn't think he's going to hell. Well, he may not think that, love. That's right. You keep convincing him, love, because it is all in the mind after all, isn't it? Mrs. McFadden's message to the criticisers is, do you honestly think I want my child to have something with such a high suicide rate? Oh, really? But you are promoting it, love, and it is such a high suicide rate amongst the transgender community. When I was pregnant, I was looking forward to doing the girly things, being mother of the bride and all that. None of us wanted this. Jack certainly didn't want to be trapped in a body that he can't stand. You are literally grieving the death of a child that is still alive. You have to pack up all the girls' clothes and make sure all the girls' photos are taken down. It's still hard for me to see photos on my phone and see posts I had on Facebook that had the word Lila on it. So this woman is erasing her childhood, raising this boy's female childhood, and just deleting the pictures, deleting the memories, and telling herself that it didn't happen and it didn't exist, and she wasn't a male, and she wasn't female. And don't tell me that's not encouraging. Don't tell me that's not, helping, participating, whatever you want to call it. And you can bet this woman's had it, and this man has just helped all the way along. You know what I mean? Like, they really have. Look at these people. You can just tell. This is our life. We're going to go through it. The least people can do is understand and ask questions. So they want us to understand, and they want us to ask questions so that we understand even more. Okay? So that we need to accept it. We need to accept it. Okay? You're literally grieving the death of the child. Did that. It's still hard for me to see photos. Did that. If at any stage he changes his mind, we support him. Do you think that will happen? Absolutely not. He sees professionals. We take care of all that. He just need the rest of society, our politicians and our safe places to catch up to us. Hear that, ladies and gentlemen? We need society, our politicians and our safe places to catch up to him. We need to catch up to this family, okay? Because the rest of society is just a little bit, behind in the whole thing, right? So that's what we need to do. We need to change all of society and all of our politicians. We need at least, half gay or a couple of transgenders in there. We need to really mix it up in the Australian political scene. You're going to need at least 3 or 4 transgenders in there. You're going to need a couple of really good fudgies in there also, just to equal it all out. Put a couple of feminists in there. Get a couple of, the normal boys, but they're just in the background. The normal old blokes, right? And they need plenty of safe places because they feel unsafe. Okay, they feel they need safe places to catch up to us. Okay, so Jack McFadden gave permission to use his old name because they didn't even want him to use the old name that he had. Oh, Godfather. Anyway, that was one of the stories I wanted to share with you today. It was quite a long one. I hope you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, but I just thought it was pretty intense. I mean, this is just a young boy, 7 years old. 7 years old, and you're trying to tell me that they're not coming for the children? You're trying to tell me that they're not coming for the children, right? And this is all about getting society, getting the church, getting them all, getting the outrage of the community, and then making the laws change, where you have to accept him. You have to do what they want you to do in order for them to be happy, okay? And that's all part of the plan. It's all part of it. And it's just going to, it'll further, break up the family unit, further break down the structure of society. And that's just, we're going for the children now. 7 years old, ladies and gentlemen, 7 years old. He was a little girl. Here's the little girl pic for you. Pretty little thing in her dress, right? There she is, enjoying her life being a child, okay? He was 22 months old there, okay? And then we go straight into the boys. Something happened in between there. Look, something happened here. And this child's, been and then encouraged. You know what I mean? He's been encouraged and appraised and, Anyway, I thought I'd just share that with you. I love how they bring in gender dysphoria too into it, because that's the legal term for it. That's what's really going on with these transgender people, and they've mixed it straight in with the actual using it as a transgender to bring it into the into line with it, and to bring it into line with the transgender movement. Anyway, it's a quick one. It's going to take me. It's not a quick one, but thanks for viewing, and hope you don't mind what I've said. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for viewing.